Hi people, the Employed Moth here. Got a quote for you today, I'll read and then talk about it. Everyone's a salesman. Everyone's wearing a mask. Everyone's an actor. And we wonder why there are so much unhappiness and depression in the world. We all wear masks in society, our persona. The things that we have attached ourselves through our existence. The things that had the most effect on us. The things that our consciousness believed were the right thing to attach to at that moment to best survive in our environment. That's what our persona is. We have many personas, many masks. We wear these things in different environments because different environments require different purposes, different personalities, different qualities, different ways of behavior, ways of acting, ways of speaking. And that's why we're so unhappy, because we have attached ourselves to external things like behavior, material possessions, actions, speech, words, categories, ways of defining the world. We've attached ourselves to these things, but they are not us. They are from the external world. And the more we attach to, the more we get away from ourselves. The consciousness that's inside of us, that is who we truly are, that's witnessing and observing what we do on the outside world. And we have almost no control over. That deep form of consciousness is just so deep, so uncontrollable. We can only experience it. But that's who we truly are deep down. And it acts without us knowing. It's unconscious. It attaches us to these things for the most part early on in our lives, and we don't even know about it. And then as we grow up, we experience new things and we think it's cool and we'll attach to that. And we realize that we've done so, and it's almost out of our conscious control. Sometimes we can't unlike what we like. We don't have a control over liking that thing. And that's how we live our lives. By attaching ourselves to different things because there's an outcome from it. If I'm in this environment and I attach myself to that thing, all of a sudden I can become more successful and I can survive better. That's what our consciousness wants to do for the most part. It wants to survive. That is the main drive. The main instinct is survival. But here we are, the most advanced species on the planet, and our brains have gone beyond our natural instincts, and our societies have evolved beyond our natural instincts to where we don't have to hunt, we don't have to fight other people off, we don't have to worry about protecting our children. Well, we do, I know we do, there's always situations where we do, but we don't have to as much as, say, an animal living in the wild where there's predators eating their children every day. And our brains are still old through thousands of years of evolution, yet we live in modern society. So a lot of these natural drives and instincts get cut out, and we end up attaching ourselves to things that promote our survival in modern society, which don't fulfill us. Things like any kind of clothing trend, any kind of car, possessions, sporting teams, work, employment, study, whatever you want to look at, food. We attach ourselves to these things, but they simply do not nourish us the same way that more earthy, natural things might satisfy our natural drives for survival. Modern society offers almost infinite ways of living. And a lot of them take us away from ourselves, what we truly need and want. We start desiring things that would have never been desired 1,000 years ago. We start living in a way that would have been absolutely insane 1,000 years ago. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do these things, but I'm saying you have to be wary of them. You have to be aware of attaching yourself to things that do not nourish yourself. They only take you away from yourself. They only have you behaving in ways that do not nourish who you are. And that's why we're so depressed and unhappy. Because we're having to act in ways that we do not want to. We have to suck up to our boss, be nice to our co-workers, work 9 to 5 in a soul-crushing job, blah, blah, blah. You get the point, sit at a desk and study, whatever else. Rarely do we be ourselves. Rarely do we drop the facade, the illusion, the mask, the persona. And when we do, it's so significant that we remember that moment forever. We often can't handle it. We fear it. It's extremely scary to drop everything that you've attached to and become nothing. Imagine a turtle without its shell. It's vulnerable. We are vulnerable when we drop all of our ego attachments. It's extremely scary to do so. There have been some times in my life where I've done so. And I was afraid and fearful. But other times I wasn't. And I had to almost reinvent myself after that. There's the story of the lobster moving to a bigger shell. There's the story of the snakes shedding their skin as they grow. There's the cliche of once you've seen it, you can never unsee it. Once you have dropped the ego, or at least experience what is on the other side of your persona, or should I be more correct, what is underneath your persona, you can't go back. The only way you can go back is through willful ignorance, and that will only bring suffering. One way to affect our depression and unhappiness is to start stripping away the things that are unnecessary for us. The less possessions you have, the more you are weighed down. The less those possessions own you. The more authentic you make your life, the more closer to self and central, balanced, grounded you are. All it takes is stripping away unnecessary attachments, and you can start with material attachments. Sometimes you've got to throw things out because they're just holding you in that same mindset as when you accomplished it or when you bought it or whatever. Every time you walk past something, you have a memory of what you were back then. The skateboarder Rodney Mullen is the most successful skateboarder of all time when it comes to competition wins, or at least one of them. And he chucked all of his trophies out because he believes they only represented him back then, but the true him is existing right now. And that's what he should be focusing on. So he threw all of them out. There's talk, you hear stories about Olympians or whatever else, people who give their medals away. Sure, the accomplishment's great, but the accomplishment is always there without the medal, with the medal or not. You can't take that away from someone. But the medal is just a symbol for the accomplishment, and it's only a material representation of something that's already in your mind. Now, of course, you might want to keep some memories, that's perfectly fine. But it's just something to consider, detaching from certain material possessions that keep you in a different state to what you are. Anyway, just an idea. The Employed Moth here, signing out. See you later. All the best.